Good morning, gear divers. No, there is no musical intro today. We have a lot to get into and only a narrow broadcast window to do it in. So let's just leap right into things. Today's top story is that we got utterly bodied on Hoshune. The DSS nearly got trashed again, this time by Gloomspores. And the major order looks like it's going to fail. Oh, who cares? See, the problem with all of this is that we simply don't have the numbers required to pull something like this off in time. And why is that? Because Helldivers are just going to play something else. Honestly, this whole story arc with Ushune, this kind of sucks. It has sucked since we got that whole Into the Unjust update. So, yeah, it's time for the serious music again. Allow me to offer some context here. The most recent patch was a mixed bag. What was publicly disclosed was decent enough, but everyone's eyes were focused on what wasn't said. Specifically, the debuff to enemy flammability and the decrease in flame damage over time by 20%. This was done specifically to counter the effectiveness of the Coyote. Now, I was not one to spam the Coyote. In fact, I actually rather disliked it because of the flash of its incendiary munitions. But you know what I was a fan of? Laser pistols, the scythe, the flamethrower, the eagle napalm strike, the oval napalm barrage. All of that diminish in effectiveness to counter one item that had an extremely high pick rate. No, seriously, while you're aiming down the sights, the flash from this weapon is actually really grating to the eyes. And as an aside, the War Strider, while nerfed, still has that problem with the red flashing light spam months after the fact that someone literally died in real life fighting this thing. But getting back on track here, the salt in the wound is that you said multiple times that you would do nothing to this weapon. You said during the live stream that you made no changes to it. I mean, sure, it's your game, your development studio, do what you want, but when you're dishonest to your players, don't be shocked when they get tired of your shenanigans and excuses and simply go elsewhere. Especially since you made a show of saying this.
Let's see. Where is it?
Where did you put the
Where
coyote?
did I put the coyote?
Did you put it at the...
Oh wait, we didn't do anything.
That's so weird.
Yeah,
But interesting.
apparently we forgot to change the coyote.
And then you admitted this when you got forced into a corner and had no choice on livestream.
I mean, I could even drag that into a spicy conversation that maybe I shouldn't go into, but like talking stuff like Coyote, etc. Like, we didn't wanna touch the Coyote, and then a lot of players got into like, oh, you shadow nerfed it. I'm not sure if I should go into this, but I don't know. Here I go. I felt like the weapon also enabled that you could, like, if you have an incendiary breaker or like the cookout, you use it to put enemies on fire, right? Makes sense. It's also a shotgun. The Coyote kind of did that by one bullet and sometimes like two, and so we didn't want to touch as little as possible with that weapon, but without it being basically the cookout end of its incendiary breaker, but better. So when it takes one bullet to put stuff on fire, it comes a fire and click, and then it dies. So it's like, well, what if it takes two bullets? I guess it removes a certain playstyle to it that was nice, but we tried to keep it as intact as we possibly could. And I know some people got angry about it, but holy crap, we tried and battled it out. And I think it plays good. Someone's gonna quote me on that and drag me over the coals for it.
Well, look at that. Someone is raking you over the coals for it.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal!
No, you didn't have to do something about that. It was so incredibly easy. All you had to do for a massive PR win and show that you actually listen to the feedback of your fans was to do nothing. In fact, you promised to do nothing. You said to our faces that you did nothing. But then the data miners, Liberty bless their hearts, discovered that you did do something. A lot of something. Like I said, it's your game. Do as you please with the Nerf fist off that, run with your vision. But when you're dishonest to the player base like that, you make a dog and pony show of how you didn't touch something, but then made massive sweeping changes anyway. I'm just gonna come out and say it. Helldivers has a massive, amazing, wonderful, vibrant community behind it filled with talented people that can do astonishing things. They don't deserve this, and Arrowhead doesn't deserve them. Not anymore. There's also the fact that nearly a year ago we were promised up and down a testing server which still has not materialized to my knowledge. Look, I'm always one to run hype for you, Arrowhead, but you can't keep doing this. I can't keep doing this. Even in my show's own lore, I can't do the Ministry of Truth thing where I pretend everything is alright and we all join hands and sing Kumbaya. So, there's going to be some changes starting to this channel. I am sure that many of you have noticed that I have not uploaded a decent broadcast since Liberty Day. I was looking things over and thinking what to do. Honestly, I just haven't felt the drive to play or do radio broadcast work. Really, gameplay on Oshune is just pain. It's awful. It's not fun. How many times have we extended Arrowhead the benefit of the doubt? And how often has that come back to bite us right in the tail? I am not sure if it's just technical inability or if the studio has as massive of an ego problem as some might suspect, but we have been on the receiving end of improper, dishonest treatment multiple times, and now they've just gone off to start work on their next game. Yeah, you heard me right. If what I have heard turns out to be accurate, Helldivers 2 is no longer the sole focus of Arrowhead Studios. This game is no longer their top priority. I think we really should have to acknowledge the elephant in the room. Francine, happy birthday. They're never going to fix this. That doesn't fill me with good feelings either. We are probably never going to see the things that we truly desire and crave come out of Helldivers 2. I mean, this was a flagship title for Sony. My husband and I are going to a concert this month for PlayStation Music, and the Helldivers OST is deservedly taking center stage. I mean, the music department is awesome. It's amazing. They're iconic. No complaints here. But if Arrowhead doesn't care to make this game's repair and polish their top priority, then do they really deserve top-shelf effort from us either? I'm not the only one who feels like this. In fact, I'm gonna let my bestie from another nestie take over the mic for a little bit.
Hey everyone, Lady Electo here. So, as a longtime TTRPG player and a veteran dungeon master of 20 plus years, I feel the need to once again borrow the mic and tell another story. This isn't directed at the players. This is for Arrowhead, so, as another favorite game put it, stay a while and listen. Back in the Shadowrun 3rd Edition campaign, yes, I'm old, can it? I had a mission that became known as Operation Stuff Storm. My players were given a week to take out 3 targets. In the interest of time, and frankly it doesn't matter, I'll spare you the plot, but here's what I, as a DM, did. I planned out their home lives. I planned out their work lives. I planned out their routes to and from. I planned out every single conceivable way I thought my players could get to them, above and below as one lived in a high-security penthouse. In short, I thought I had it covered. This is the part where I'm certain other DMs listening are about to say the exact thing that happened. No, No, I did not. These mad lads somehow managed to lure all three into a single location, caused complete chaos, and took them out. As I threw the notebook into the air and said, "Well, we're doing it live." There's a saying in the military, very fitting for this situation, and frankly, Helldivers, and the one we're in now. No plan survives first contact with the enemy. Or in this case, a very determined player base, because players will find a way. Yes, I like my references, bite me. So, for those asking, Electo, gonna get to the point anytime soon? Here it is. For the HD vets, I mean, going back to the creek, playing since the start crowd, I'm sure you know this too. You don't have a story without player engagement. Your players will find ways to derail your story without fail. But here's the thing. That's where the magic is. The creek was literally no value whatsoever back then. But what did we do? We held the line, and we made it part of the story. Not you, Arrowhead. Calypso, winning that by seconds. Popley, smashing the bot advance in a brilliant tactical play, DSS and all. Seychelles Beach, it's ours again because the player said, yeah, we're doing this. And that right there is what keeps us playing, and more importantly, keeps us engaged. Not getting fluff and railroad or scripted, or forced into, frankly, a seriously unfun situation with half our kit gone, our respawn points limited, and whatever grunt fantasy game you think we're in here. I'm just gonna say this. The past few months, Joel, Arrowhead, you have been really lousy DMs. Engagement is not a thing you can force. You can't just throw more numbers, bigger enemies, or harder scenarios. You've fallen into the trap of power creep as well, where everything has to keep being number go up to counter bigger threat, or in the case of the Rupture strain, you have to fudge the rolls by redoing the whole damn thing. Now, this isn't a call to nerf. If you're thinking that, you're wrong. But don't even get me started on the fire damage stealth nerfs, by the way. Trying to get the coyote the way you did, it was seriously not appreciated. Regardless, I invite you to look at what happened. You created a huge crossover event. You got the player base for the crossover close to launch numbers. You took all that player, all that engagement, all that free-for-all that we were all having a blast at, merry old time, bashing every front into oblivion, and you threw it in the one hive world. A poorly designed hive world at that. This isn't DRG. You limited our abilities, you limited our options, you gave us enemies that were poorly designed on top of tunnels, and frankly, it just wasn't fun to play. You literally made me and Pondera both go, yeah, fluff this. We've been having a ball playing other games like Riftbreaker, Zephon, or, in my case, Bakshi, let's just put it that way. Bakshi. And we're having a grand old time. But speaking of, how are those numbers going? As I typed this on a Saturday night, had tipped to Pondera for helping me with the number fetching. The player count's 77,000. On a Saturday night. 35,000 of that Steam. Back in August? That was... what's the number here? Oh, right. Nearly 500,000. 500,000. Where did they go? They left because, again, you gave us a world of options and then said no. We have to advance the story how I, the DM, and how I, Arrowhead, want. Look, I don't care if you have 2 scripts for Oshirune. I don't care if you had 2 scripts for Super Earth. That's not an excuse for people to say, oh, but see, it's not a scripted fail. It's still railroading. And that right there is why your players get bored, get annoyed, and leave. Because, say it with me, you have taken away our agency. There is no point in playing out a story if the DM is going to move the story along anyway how they want. A good DM adapts, such as how you made the creek part of it, and you gave us a chance to make Popley happen the way it did. You let us create within your story, not just throw bodies at Hive Lords and the Predator strain and confine us to how you want it to play out. Because here's the other thing, Arrowhead, one DM to another. Something you got right, but something you have now forgotten about. Every campaign, every story, every adventure, as much as we hate it, eventually has to come to an end. I hated ending that Shadowrun game, mainly because my players kept surprising me past the above story. They did some things that were wild, unpredictable, and all around awesome, with real risks that if they messed up, I made sure they were playing without a net. There was real consequence for failure, and they almost died more than once. And this is again where you lost the magic. The story doesn't matter if the story is going to keep going forever. If I, as a player, realize that my actions eventually will still reach a predetermined outcome by how you want the story to go, if my loss here doesn't matter because we'll eventually make a comeback there, and if a win means we just reach that same point anyway by other means, then it's not a story, it's a rail shooter. And you're telling us we're not making a difference. Again, that's bad DMing, worse storytelling, and it's insulting as hell. Let us lose, not just an MO, the whole damn war. Cause, like in HD1, frankly, I'm bored. I'm not enjoying myself, and I'm not your enemy. Players never are. But if you keep treating us as such, if you keep tweaking the numbers, or throwing forced curveballs, or giving us a pity play on Liberty Day because we go off of what you want, no, it's not going to last. The Forever War trope exists for a reason, and it's been deconstructed enough in books that share the title. Heck, we made the Creek our own space Vietnam already. But the war stories that come out of it, the jokes, the memes, the propaganda posters, the songs, the players, that was a time to be playing this game. It's at its best when you let us do that. Because at the end of the day, you've shown us that, win or lose, Osha Une doesn't matter. The story will grind on. The next curveball will happen. But again, it doesn't matter because there's no end. Victory is meaningless without a tangible result from it. Defeat is meaningless when there is no consequence for it. So I ask you, why do we keep playing when we know in the end neither matters? You want to make this grand stage you've created mean something? Let it matter, Shug. Let us lose for real. Let us win for real. Let us wipe a faction off the map. I don't care if that ticks people off who hate one or the other, because frankly I hate bugs anyway, and I'd happily go spill oil all day long if you gave me the chance. Let the bug divers do their thing, and we both in the end get what we want. Liberation, victory, or Super Earth up in flames. Reset the clock, let's go again. It'd be a chance for new stories to be made, and your players to keep finding ways to surprise you. Or, we can keep going the way we have. I'm sure it'll be fine. Lady Lecto out.
Could not have said it better myself. That kind of thing is why there are going to be changes to the channel. I'll be focusing more on music videos from other games, a new series where I engage in deep thoughts while gaming. There's the Zephon project, and a new segment of the XCOM code just got wheeled out today too. A friend of mine suggested Frontier Radio for Lightyear Frontier, or the Riftbreaker Radicals radio station for the eponymous Riftbreaker, and I like that. So I've got plenty of options for content. Now, the purpose of this broadcast isn't to whine or place an ultimatum. I don't operate like that. It's just after 600-odd some broadcasts centering around the same game, seeing the design direction of Helldivers and witnessing how awful Oshune-related content is, I just want to go do other stuff. I'll still make broadcasts about major plot points and maybe new MOs, but the days of me spending hours a day just making Helldivers content, that ship has sailed. The Super Destroyer has jumped out. As an aside, the Fallen of the Chaos Divers has put together an extremely well-written post listing the CD's grievances with the technical state of the game, but he might want to add nerfing fire damage for all enemies by 20% just to stealth nerf one weapon that had an overly high pick rate, because Arrowhead is more obsessed with meta than any hardcore esports gamer ever was. To that list. I will go to my grave wondering how Arrowhead thought that they were going to get away with that. As for what Mr. Giorgiani had to say, that the first patch was only the beginning, and how we can look to see new patches every 2 weeks. For the sake of Helldivers, sir, I certainly hope so. I hope that you bring the noise, do everything that you promise, and change course, because right now, your company is in danger of being known as a cautionary tale and a patron saint of broken promises and missed opportunities. This might be your last shot, guys, because this isn't an airport. Helldivers don't announce their departure. We're just gonna leave.